Hey, once again, we're talking about moving south of the border in regards to snowbirds. We all hate the Canadian winter up here in Canada. And when it comes time for the winter, how do we escape? What do we do? So, with me, I'm talking with Calvin Strain, located in Dallas, Texas, where it gets a little bit cool in the winter, but nothing compared to what we deal with. Calvin, let's start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, like you said, I am from Texas and south of the border. To me, I'm used to that means Mexico, but for you guys in Canada, that means the United States. So I'm here in Dallas. I've been in Texas my whole life. Love it here. Real estate agent in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and I'm with Fathom Realty. It's the brokerage I'm currently with, and yeah, just loving it.
Calvin, we've known each other for, geez, coming on almost a couple of years now. And we've chatted in regards to how the market's been down there. You know, interest rates are rising in Canada. They're also rising in the US. How are you seeing just the housing market in general for your area around Dallas?
Yeah, so we're really blessed. Dallas is a really strong market and relative to the United States in general. Even in Texas, it's a very strong market. And so we see that Dallas is still holding steady as far as the demand is here. We're having out-of-state buyers, but not as much as there were maybe a year ago. And now people are still buying because it's a relatively strong economy. And so if you're able to afford it and you have that reason to buy, you're still going to buy. But with the interest rates climbing a little bit, if you were kind of on the fence, you have an excuse or a reason to keep renting, wait for one more year. And so the market's still very steady, still very strong, but it's not blazing hot like it was maybe a year ago.
And are you seeing any pullback in regards to, say, first-time home buyers?
You know, I I know that the new construction is seeing a little bit of pullback in that area. They're emailing us with all these realtor incentives to bring buyers in. But as far as my clients are concerned, they if they're getting a house, it's because they have a reason that's outside of the economy. So whether they're getting married and decide to get a home, or their family is growing and they're trying to upsize, like those are things that really interest rates, they're not a big enough pain point to overshadow the pain point of a growing family needing a bigger house. And so I'm seeing first-time home buyers still being strong. It's actually better right now, I think, if you're a first-time home buyer down here, because the interest rates being 6% or whatever, they're high, which stinks for them as far as the monthly payment, but they're so high that they're keeping a lot of the investors away, which is actually a blessing, because you're not having to go through bidding wars with this cash buyer who's funded by some hedge fund that's going to beat you out 9 times out of 10.
Looking at in regards back to the snowbirds factor, when we talk about where they go, where they like to stay, have you ever had any dealings with, are they going to gated communities, retirement communities, or just in general, are they trying to find someplace just to be comfortable?
Yeah, I think place to be comfortable, really. Gated communities, we don't have a whole lot of them down here in Texas, just because I think we're very spread out in Dallas Fort Worth. It's a really spread out city, and you're able to move away from sketchy areas if that's what you desire. And so you're so far away that there's no really incentive for sketchy people to go rob your house, because it's too far of a drive and too much work for them. We all know burglars can be kind of lazy. But that being said, Dallas is a really good spot just for, if you like to vacation, if you want just to come to the city for a little bit, you don't want to, you don't want to move as fast as New York or maybe LA. Dallas is a really good spot because we've got a lot of the things that the United States has to offer, and really a lot more low key.
Temperature wise, what are you talking about? Let's say January through February, what kind of temperatures are you sitting with?
Well, that's a great question. One funny thing we say about here in Texas: if you don't like the weather, just wait till next week, because it can really change. And some Januaries can be pretty warm, and then some Januaries can get really cold, like last year, where I think we had one of the worst temperatures ever, and it was like below freezing for a whole week. Which is like, for you guys, like, whoa,
Yeah.
not a big deal. But for us, that was a really big deal because it rained one of those days and the rain wouldn't melt, because it turned into ice and snow and all that stuff. And so that kind of threw us off. But we're probably looking at 40s to 60s usually.
Okay. Condo market, how's that looking? Has there been any dip with the small changes in the market, or condos are still quite strong?
Condos are interesting sell here in Dallas. Like I said, we're really spread out area. And so a lot of times people will opt for the house. If you want a condo, it's just because you prefer the city living. And so it's a really stable, steady, never too hot, never too cold in the condo market here. It's what I would say for Dallas, just because people's first choice usually is a house with an acre.
Yeah.
You know, you don't move to Dallas thinking you want a condo. You move to Dallas thinking you want some land. So I mean, it's a strong condo market.
Okay, and in regards to housing, what are you seeing for a median sale price for a house, and about how big of a house would that be?
Yeah, so it really will vary depending on what county you're in. We've got four main counties: Dallas County, Collin County, Tarrant County, and Denton County. You know, in Dallas Fort Worth. And so if you're looking at, I would say Collin County, which is the county where I actually live in, which is just north of Dallas, that county would probably say median. I mean, even within the cities, it can vary, but I mean, you can get a solid house for $400,000, which is a good starter home, and that you'd be fine.
Sweet. And we had chatted before the interview, just kind of off camera. Airbnbs. Big thing with the Snowbirds is they can only go down for up to 6 months of the year. Then they got to come back to Canada. What do they do with that property during those 6 months? So big thing that's popped up in the past years is Airbnb. It makes some additional rental income. How do you find Airbnbs in the Dallas area?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that you can do that's really good is look for event venues, sporting venues, concert venues, just centrally located places that those will be always in really good demand, just because someone wants to go see the concert or someone wants to go see the stop. You know, for you, I know you're a big hockey guy. You should buy a condo in Dallas. You can go see your hockey team whenever they visit the Stars, because you said the tickets are cheap.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, yeah, you know, so you could easily get something pretty close to the arenas for not a whole lot of money in Dallas. You know, you maybe a little bit sketchier, but I mean, you can. Places are turning over, and if you're okay with a little bit of the, you know, not buttoned up, you know, gated community, you can find a good deal.
All right, and I mentioned gated communities because we talk about other southern locales where you kind of need the gated community for the protection. I know Dallas is a completely different market, which is why we're doing this today, kind of pinpointing different areas that people can go and not freeze, maybe not cook either. You know, like you say,
Yeah.
you get a little bit of the cooler weather,
Yeah.
but that doesn't bother most of us.
Yeah, I've got friends from church that are from Michigan, and he tells me every time I see him, he's like, "Yeah, I would take the warm summers over the cold winters." You know, he's told me that a couple times, just because I've never experienced that snow life in the wintertime, but I'm sure it can be pretty tough.
Absolutely. We start looking at markets in regards to the rising interest rates. You highlighted a little bit on it earlier. Forecasting looking into 23, even 2024. Obviously, real estate investing is still something people should be pushing themselves towards. Nothing to be shy of, right?
Yeah, as far as if you want to do investing long-term hold, I think it's a really good play. Because I mean, I love this quote. I think Mark Twain said it. Said, "Buy land; they're not making any more of it." You know, like I mean, there's more and more people, but there's no more land, and so it's just going to grow in value. So I think it's a strong time to buy, even though interest rates are a little bit higher than they have been. They're definitely lower than they have been as well.
Is there any desirable locations around the Dallas area that you would say that a snowbird should be attracted to?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a snowbird and you want a condo, I would say just tour downtown Dallas and downtown Fort Worth, see which one you like better. Fort Worth's definitely gonna be more affordable than Dallas, but Dallas is gonna have more that's going on. But Fort Worth is actually a really strong buy if you're looking for something like that. Or if you want a little bit more land, I would say, and you're a snowbird, go west of Fort Worth. That's really beautiful land out there, and that land is even getting more and more desirable. Just with people coming out here, moving to Texas, wanting acreage on the Fort Worth side is cheaper than acreage on the Dallas side. It's also a little bit more of that that Western feel on the Fort Worth side. People say that Fort Worth is where the West begins. And so if you go east of Dallas, you might start running into a lot of trees, just because a little bit of that southeast feel. But then if you go west of Fort Worth, you're going to run into that kind of ranch feel, kind of that southwest feel. And so it's really, I would say, if you want land, want a ranch, Fort Worth side, west of Fort Worth, you can find some really good deals, even northwest of Fort Worth. That's kind of what I would say if you're a snowboard. And then if you're looking for a condo, go tour Dallas and Fort Worth, see which one you like better.
Thinking about our two countries, our two different areas. Where I'm based, Lloydminster, Alberta, oil country. You're in Dallas, it's oil country. Things are still keeping strong. There's definitely connection with business between your locale and my locale. What would you say is the best advantage to living in the Dallas area?
Oh man, well, I love it. We've got, compared to other parts of the country, we've got a healthy economy. We've got gas prices are a lot cheaper than other parts of the country. Everyone in Texas is really proud to be Texan. We got big sports teams. I mean, that you can watch. I mean, there's so many things to do. I grew up in a small town closer to Houston, then went to college there, and then moved to Dallas after I graduated college. And really, I mean, if you can just pop in real quick to one of the big cities, there's anything you need right there. And then you have those Texas values here in Dallas, Fort Worth, and you can't beat that.
Sweet. Well, Calvin, appreciate you hanging out with us today. Look forward to connecting with you throughout the upcoming months and into the future. And keep it strong. I say, even with the change of the market, I know we're all going to pull through this.
That's right. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it.